Police killed two suspects. The dead suspects are a man and a woman. Their names have not been released. However, there are reports unconfirmed that one of the suspects is a man named Saeed Farouk, an American, and another is believed to be Farouk's brother.
A third person, a man, has been detained. The hunt for the gunman spans several miles and several hours today after heavily armed killers opened fire at a center that provides services to the developmentally disabled. Here's what we know so far. It's believed 3 gunmen went into the facility at around 11 this morning Pacific time and opened fire. Police say they were heavily armed and wearing some sort of body armor. Hours later, the suspects were hunted down. 2 were killed by police, a male and female. And right now, the FBI is raiding an apartment in Redlands, about 11 miles from San Bernardino, as a part of their investigation. In the wake of yet another mass shooting, President Obama offered some comments in an interview with CBS News.
There are some steps we could take, not to eliminate every one of these mass shootings, but to improve the odds that they don't happen as frequently.
2 witnesses who were there when all of this tragedy was unfolding described what they saw.
She said the guy came in next to her office and I guess started shooting. They locked themselves in her office. They seen bodies on the floor.
Shooting at my work, people shot in the office waiting for cops.
But she's okay.
Pray for us. I am locked in an office.
At the most recent briefing by police, they said there was a device, a suspicious device inside the building that police are not sure whether it is a bomb, but they are checking it out. The bomb squad was there. At last word, they have not said whether they have disabled this device or whether they have been able to determine that it was or was not an explosion. This is the deadliest mass shooting in our country since Sandy Hook. We have been covering this tragedy in depth for you all day. We continue to do just that with our News 4 Jax news team. First, joining us live here in the studio is crime and safety analyst Gil Smith.
Gil, they could have gotten away. It's fascinating. They actually went back to the home where they could have been where they were traceable. Correct.
Yeah, that's true. They could have gotten up actually on I-10 and gotten far away, which is very unusual. But if you look at the Paris attacks, the same thing sort of happened. They didn't leave the area. They went someplace else to plan future attacks. So we don't know if that was part of their plan also, was to do future attacks in the same area. Otherwise, you're right. You would think they would just leave the area.
Mm-hmm. Gil, the details on exactly how police were led to these suspects is still sketchy, as you well know, but I know you've been piecing together the information that you've gleaned, and you've kind of come up with sort of a possible theory as how police could have been led to this home in Redlands, California, where they then saw this SUV, and then that led to this shootout with the SUV that left 2 of the suspects, a man and a woman, dead.
Yeah, I don't think the police knew when they went to that location in Redlands that the suspects would be there. But, but how would they know to go there? Who would give that type of information? And I'm thinking, well, if they did say earlier that one of the gunmen may have been at that get-together at the original location first and got into an argument with someone and left, and then came back and possibly they could be the ones who did the shooting. So maybe someone there at that scene recognized him coming back, and knew him and told police that's where he lives.
And so police would have gone to talk to him because from what we know, it was sort of, they didn't roll a SWAT team to that house in Redlands. The SWAT team came to where that shootout was, right, where the SUV was shot up by police.
Well, since they did have that information on them, they might have sent SWAT team. They might have been very heavily armed. I'm sure they just didn't go up to the door and knock. They knew that if the person was there, there could be problems. So then they confronted them, I believe, outside, and the chase ensued.
Just an incredible unfolding of events.
Yeah, so much is happening, and especially now with the FBI, they're conducting the raid now. So the FBI...
This raid at this apartment in Redlands.
Right, at the apartment that they originally went to look for the suspect. Now they're conducting a raid. They're trying to gather evidence. But it says that the FBI is conducting the aid. So it appears that the FBI is the lead agency right now. And usually, and in the press conference, they said that the FBI is bringing in more resources.
And they wouldn't commit, the FBI would not commit as to whether or not this was terrorism. They would not say it wasn't, and they would not say it was, correct?
They would not say that, but at the same time, with them being the lead agency, it makes me think that, it might be a terrorist act because they are taking over as the lead agency. But again, that hasn't been confirmed at this point.
What about this third person who was detained?
Well, yeah, but it seemed like it might have been the brother of one of the deceased people at the scene. So that may have been the one who was running. They did say someone did run from the scene. So he may be the one who was detained. And it's so good that they did get at least one person alive so they can get, more answers about this whole situation.
Gil, we're just getting this with Meredith Davis, a spokeswoman with ATF, told KCAL that 2 suspects who died in the shootout with police after the mass killing were each armed with a long gun and a handgun, and they were loaded with magazines for a gunfight. Does that surprise you? Also, that there's also these copper pipes that were being thrown out.
Right,
They turned out not to be pipe bombs, the chief said.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they were armed that heavily. And we see that in many cases where they come in and shoot with rifles, and for some reason, if they lose the rifle or are disarmed or something, they'll have other weapons, like secondary weapons, they would call it, to continue the fight. So they have plenty of ammunition. They were ready for a long fight and prepared for a long fight.
It sounded like it was well planned.
Yes, it was. It appears that way.
Okay.
Thank you, Gil. We'll get back to you later.
Now tonight, a local woman tells us she found herself just a block away from the active shooting scene. She says she was on vacation in Southern California when she saw officers blazing through the streets. She spoke over the phone with Channel 4's Francesca Amaker.
That's right, Mary. She was absolutely shocked that she was on vacation in San Diego, decided to drive down to the area, and all of a sudden, she says she heard shots, and then she says all of a sudden, while she was on the interstate, she saw cops blazing by her.
We were literally right underneath all of the helicopter traffic. There were at least 5 helicopters in the air right above our heads. Lots of people standing on the sidewalks and streets, and tons and tons of police activity.
St. Augustine resident Eileen Brown says she was in the middle of it all as authorities faced a standoff with the suspects inside this SUV hours after a mass shooting claimed the lives of 14 people.
We saw tons and tons of police chasing this car. They were coming from all different directions at one time, and then all going in the same direction at another time.
She says she was just a block away from the area where police cornered the SUV. She sent us these pictures to show us just how close she was to the scene. While there, she learned that some people came face to face with the suspects after the shooting. They were running and armed.
The witness that I met said he was walking down the street, and one of the suspects came running past him, and he was armed. He came running past him, and he just kind of jumped over a block fence and got out of his way.
Smith says neighbors around her were shaken, startled, and wondering what was going on as authorities had their guns drawn in what many described as a quiet neighborhood.
Everybody was afraid. There's no doubt about it. You know, they told everybody that they were heavily armed and in armored gear, the suspects. So, you know, everybody was still standing out on the sidewalk trying to get a look at whatever they could. But at the same time, there were cops all around us. So, you know, you didn't really feel like you were in danger.
Eileen will be making her way back to Jacksonville tomorrow morning. We will be picking her up from the airport and speaking with her at the airport. So be sure to tune into the morning show for live details. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, Francesca Amaker, Channel 4, the local station.